Call me old man Wade.
Damn you, old man!
Wait.
Old ass man.
Shut up, old man. You smell like fart.
No!
Old man.
He's so old, he got a podcast on cassette.
Fuck, you're old.
Damn it, Wade.
And welcome to the Old Man Wade Show. I am your host, the God of Stubborn, the Lord of Laughter. Unfortunately, my co-host, the pinnacle of political perfection, could not be here. He's out there kicking ass and taking names. My wife, Valkyrie, could not be here. She's out there transporting the dead over to the afterlife. But I got a special guest here, someone who's an inspiration to me, for someone who's trying to write a book, someone who I think will be an inspiration to everyone else listening. Why don't you state your name and who you are?
I am Crystal, and I'm the author of The Adventures of Quentin, My Super Grandpa.
So, tell everyone what the book is about, because I think it's a novel idea. It's a great idea, and I also love the premise and what you're trying to do with the book. So tell everyone what the book's about.
So the book itself is about my son Quentin and his imagination and the way that he looks at his grandpa. And his grandpa has all these disabilities, but he sees them as superpowers. And those superpowers to him are just amazing. So he sees that he has a trach and he sees that as him charging up his body. And he'll see he has a feeding tube, and that is, that's how he gets the energy to save the world. And his medical bed in the house is his kind of like his bat cave in a way. And that's how he keeps the world safe. So like he just imagines all these differences that his grandpa has as something positive. And it really stems from the way that I noticed my son staring at my father. When he had these things, he would just kind of stare at him. And it was like they had this communication. Quentin would get very calm and relaxed around him, and he would just stare. He never pulled at anything. So it's just a book about imagination, disabilities, and how kids can really interpret those things for the positive.
It's also and I also bring this up for a reason. It's also a book with people of color, like everyone.
Correct.
And I love and this is actually the second time we try to do this, but and I wish I would have saved I think I still have the audio, so I think I might make Quentin a drop. But you talked about the importance of making these characters black, because we actually don't see a lot of black characters, main characters, in books anymore.
Correct. In a family setting and role. So in the book,
a positive setting and role at that.
Yeah. So we have a father, a mother together, married. We have his two best friends, our two girls that are actually inspirations from Jamal's friends, their two little girls. And this is not to say that there's no diversity in the book, because I do plan on doing a lot of things with diversity. But it was really, really, really important for me to focus on the fact that there is such a thing called the stable black household and what that looks like. And this kind of leads into future books, because it's going to delve into the connection that Quentin has with his father, the special connection he has with his dad, and then the special connection that he has with his mother, and then the special connection that mom and dad have together that Quentin notices and sees. So it's just really important to me that right now we have those books. So that was pretty much why I wanted to do it that way, and my illustrator just ran with it. I love the complexions. He plays with them a lot, and we're going to try to have just a range, since we all come in beautiful ranges of color. So I'm really excited about that aspect.
I'm actually going to the website now just so I can get a good look at the characters again. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I loved about it was all of them were different colors, so you don't. Because sometimes you get characters and they all kind of look the same, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And each one of the characters have their own different individual looks. Like one of them, to the far right, she's wearing a ballerina outfit with a crown, and she has this whatever look on it. I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty funny. So,
Yeah, that's Princess Mel, and she's based on our friend that I actually grew up with, Jamal's friend, and she is Trinidadian. So, and her father is very dark skinned, so we wanted to give her that tone. Yeah, it's just really fun. Like, the book has been really fun to do. The book can be really fun. And I'm just hoping I get the correct message out there.
Understandable. So, we talked about this before, but highlight why, like, I love the fact that you're keeping your father alive through this book. Do you want to talk about why he was such an inspiration for you in this book?
Sure. So my father is just an inspiration to me in general. So I was adopted when I was 2. I don't know if I call it a pleasure, but I've met my biological father, and the difference is night and day. I feel like I was meant to be my dad's daughter. But my dad is just an awesome guy. So he was born in 1943 in North Carolina. So that should tell you the time period of what he was dealing with. He took trips to Charlotte and would rip down white-only signs. He joined the Peace Corps and was in Sierra Leone for 2 years. He worked at Cambridge Range and Latin with high school students and made such a huge difference. I mean, he had such an impact that when he had his accident that left him paralyzed, which was my 8th grade year, so it was the fall of my 8th grade year, Cambridge, the city of Cambridge, paid to have him transported from Spalding University to Cambridge Range and Latin.
That's dope.
They purchased his first conversion van because they wanted to, and they also wanted to make sure that he got to the graduation for his students that year. So my dad is just someone that has always had this huge heart that will do anything for anyone, and education and learning was what his push was, and that was his hope for me. I think for me, I saw him, especially the last 2 years, overcome all of the odds. I mean, literally, I found out I was pregnant December 15th, 2016, which was my dad's birthday. We told him. I'd say like a week or 2 weeks later, he ended up at Faulkner because he was having some breathing issues, went downhill. We get a call a couple of weeks later saying, well, he's not going to make it, and then he makes it. A couple weeks later, again, he's going downhill. You give him 48 hours, he pulls it through. Literally, like the next day, he was sitting in his hospital bed singing Luther Vandross songs. So this is who he is. It was just like he always overcame everything that he has come against and been better for it. Now, unfortunately, of course, like the whole thing was that he ended up pretty much it was sepsis. He had a bunch of wounds that would not heal, and they got infected, and they continued to get infected, and there was just nothing anyone could really do about it. But he, his drive was to see his grandson, and he got to do that. And then his drive became to come home. And once he came home, he was home probably for like 6 months, and then ended up going back into the hospital, where he quickly regressed. He got back home, and then we knew it was time. But it was his decision. He was comfortable with it. He knew that he just needed to he was tired. And for me, that was the hardest thing to hear. So you have this guy that would take you deep sea fishing, and then all of a sudden he's paralyzed and he can't do those things, but he's still trying to do great things in his life for his family, for his friends, for students. And then he says, I'm just tired. I just want hospice. I'm tired. That was like a shocker to me. So forever in my heart, he will be Superman, because he did everything that he needed to do until he just couldn't do it anymore. And I think that that's what's important in a family setting, that you have that person. So yeah, now I'm babbling, but yes.
No, you're not babbling. I think this is something. I don't think you're babbling because I honestly feel that these are the type of stories that people need to hear. Excuse me. I truly believe that. First off, you find inspiration in places that, like, you're willing to look at them. You're looking to find them. Excuse me. And sometimes, like, people need to hear these stories. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. Like, we didn't talk about this the last time, so maybe this is for a reason. Maybe people need to hear this story. Like, I didn't know you were adopted. That was.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I didn't know that. But hearing the fact that, like, your dad ripped down those signs in North Carolina of all places, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's dangerous. But like, you know what I mean? He was willing to put his safety on the line for something as important as acceptance.
Exactly.
The fact
I like to call him the first Kaepernick because he so, like, before they really started doing fancy stamps, it was always the American flag, and my dad purposely put American flags upside down on his mail when he would send things out, purposefully, for that reason. He just, when you've seen so much. And then the great thing about, like, our grandparents, if you can have that type of relationship with them and they are open and allow you to ask questions, or parents that were born in that generation, is that you're getting so much more knowledge than you were able to get in school. I would have never learned half the stuff that I learned if I didn't have the parents that I have. I mean, and my mom's world is, like, completely separate. I mean, she was born in Richmond. My dad was born in North Carolina on a farm, working tobacco farm, and my mom had my grandfather was a black dentist. And so their stories are completely different. And it's just amazing to hear how, how they came together, and you get two sides of it. So my mom talks a lot about how people would come to their house, celebrities would come to their house because blacks weren't allowed to go to hotels. So that a lot of black celebrities, a lot of singers, performers would come to stay with them. And she got to meet all these incredible people through those experiences. Whereas my dad was more of the fighting for the civil rights movement. My mom was more in the, we have to make our community togetherness strong. So I think that was an amazing thing. And that's one thing I miss that Quentin won't necessarily have from my dad. But he has my mom, like, literally they're in the room right now watching, like, I don't know what, but it sounds like they're having a ball. So, yeah.
But I think it's kind of cool, though, because after hearing that, I can understand why you are the person that you are, why you're very pro-black, you're very pro-woman, but you're also not like anti-white. You're pro-togetherness. Like, you want people to actually be able to love each other and learn from each other. Like you said, your parents came from two different backgrounds, but they found a way to come together for the same common cause.
Yeah, I mean, but I think this is where the confusion lies. I think a lot of people that are pro-black get the label of not being pro-white, unlike the KKK and many hateful white people. They put that onto us. So I think, like, for instance, the Black Panther movement, they were never anti-white. That's not what they were. They were for the people, by the people. And if you look and you research, you'll learn that there was actually white Black Panthers. So if you know this information and you know that the things that they did, they wanted to serve their community and protect their community. And what is their community? Their community just happens to be predominantly Black because that's where they lived.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the same concept. Like, so, yeah, I think it's a bad stereotype when you have a lot of pro-Black people, and a lot of people don't understand that we're not anti-white. It's just that Black people get so dogged on. You want to help lift up your community. I mean, white people do it all the time. Other races do it. Asians look out for themselves. Asians look out for other Asians, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. As long as you're not a hateful person, as long as you don't prevent someone else from being great because of their race or their ethnicity, then I have no issue with you.
Well, and that's the big thing. Like, and so when someone says, "Oh, I want to make sure my heritage isn't lost," I get that. I get that more than anyone. A lot of people do. Like I know people who have kids who don't believe Martin Luther King was a real person, which like hurts my soul. But it's like you got to be kidding me. And then when I'll see someone go on a rant about how they hate Muslims, but then when Muhammad Ali died, they were dropping quotes, and I'm like, you have no idea the type of person he was if you hate Muslims, but then love who Muhammad Ali was. And to your point about the knowledge your parents give you and the knowledge your grandparents give you was like, my dad had been talking to me about Muhammad Ali for as long as I can remember, and not just him as the boxer, but him as like the man. The like refusing to train the military because he was like, those people never did anything to me. I'm not gonna train you to go fight some people who never called me nigger. You know what I mean? Like just the fact that he stood up for these rights. The fact that he wasn't. But my father also let me know that he wasn't necessarily like a great man, but he was a great man. Like, you know what I mean? So,
and that's an important difference. You have to separate the two.
I agree. But yeah, like But I also think that the good thing is like Quentin will always have like you to tell these stories. Like, you know what I mean? So, and not even just you, but I think the world will also hear the greatness that your dad was.
I hope so. I hope that's what they get from it. I mean, that's important to me. I wish that I could have just like put my dad on a television show and people could have just watched it, because he got really funny when he got older too. Like really funny. Like old people are uncensored when they get older, and then they always claim like he'll always be like, well, I'm old, so you know I can say these things, and I'm like, yeah, sure, Vincent, okay, but
I mean, come on, let's be honest. We both can't wait to get to that age where oh man, can you imagine me at like 70? Woohoo! But honestly, like you talk about him being on a TV show, why not? Like, I mean, you have the material, and not even just the material, you have the actual love to make this happen. And I think projects with passion are the ones that actually do make it. And since you do have that passion, I mean, you can make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know if the world's ready for a Vincent TV show, though. I think let's just make this an animated series. Let's make the book an animated series, and we'll go from there.
I mean, that even sounds like a great title. The world ain't ready for a Vincent TV show. They didn't call it.
It's not.
Look, I even like the name. I even like the sound of that. Let me tell you, if you send me a couple stories, I will write them myself. Because he sounds like a great man, and it's funny. I can see the joy in your face as you're talking about him. So it's heartwarming. So I think the world needs to hear more stories like this. I think the world needs to experience these things. I think the world needs more joy. The world needs more happiness. The world needs more inspiration. And I even think when we get to the pinnacle, like to the top point of happiness, like, why can't we have more? You know what I mean? So I think
it's okay to be selfish with happiness.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, be selfish with it, be giving with it. I think happiness is something that the world definitely needs more. So what's next after? So first off, what's the name of the book? I don't even think we talked about that. So
it's The Adventures of Quentin, My Super Grandpa.
Okay, so what's next? We talked about I don't know if you still want to talk about the next book and Quentin's powers.
So it doesn't really have an actual name yet, but the whole book is already written.
Oh, damn.
But it is Quentin and his dad Jamal are going to the zoo. And they visit the zoo, and just strange things happen. The animals are talking to Quentin. He's not sure what's going on or why they're talking to him. But in this book, we realize that he has this special connection with his dad because Quentin's overactive imagination ties in with his dad, and that's where he gets it from. So he kind of he's talking to these animals, and he kind of checks his dad, like, can you hear this? Are you listening? And of course his dad says no, but gives him kind of like a wink, like, yeah, I do hear this. And we have this bond and we have this connection, which I hopefully will, venture into later on. So this was kind of my way of introducing their connection, which is really, really important. And then after that, he's going to the library with his grandmother and watching.
Oh, that should be amazing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. And then I have a cousin that loves airplanes and wants to be a pilot. So Quentin is going to be conquering his fear of getting on a flight with his cousin as the pilot. And so as he flies on this plane, it's going to turn into a spaceship, and he's just going to be going to see all these planets. And that's how he gets through conquering his fear of actually flying, even though they're only going to North Carolina. So we have like a whole pack of stories ready to go, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. I'm glad. I love the work. I love the fact that you're like, oh, it's already done. So that's done. So that's cool. Before we move on to the next topic, plug the website, name the book, tell the people where they can get the book, tell people the name of the book again, and I'll probably ask you one more time when the episode ends too.
No, it's okay. So it's Adventures of Quentin, My Super Grandpa. The website is adventuresofquentin.com. And you can go on there and go ahead and order the book. There's some T-shirts that are up there as well that just say imagine, dream, and explore, which are kind of our sayings for the book. And it's available now.
All right, so the website is Adventures of Quentin, ADVENTURESOFQUENTIN.com. Because I went Adventures of Quentin and I was spelling it wrong, and I got some old author, and I'm like, that's not what I'm looking for.
Yeah, there's a movie. There's a movie out. Because when I was trying to trademark everything, they were like, oh, that shouldn't be a problem. It was just a movie and a book. I was like, okay, good. Because I'm not changing it.
Like, no, that's what it is. Deal with it. That's happening. So, this was a topic I really couldn't wait to speak with you about, and it was kind of funny that a couple days later you sent me an image.
Yes.
And we both wished that it was something we talked about, but now that we are, let's get into it. So it's a picture of Janet Jackson. And it says, this generation has made it seem like being a man. God, I can't even speak to that. I need to get my act together. This generation has made it seem like a man being loyal to his woman is a luxury, when in fact it should be standard.
Correct.
And I couldn't agree more. Why has that become such a like Chris Rock has a joke, and I quote Chris Rock a lot because he's one of my favorite people in the world. He says that you shouldn't get a cookie for doing the things you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I honestly believe that. So when he was like, it's like, oh, I don't cheat. Well, you're not supposed to. You know what I mean? Like that. You're not supposed to. Well, the word cheating alone is negative. So why would you be proud of not doing something negative? That's like saying, oh, I don't walk down the street and slap people. I'm like, okay, good. You're not supposed to walk down the street and slap people.
Have you heard the song by Charlemagne? And it just came out. It's so funny. Charlemagne and this other comedian called Black Men Are Faithful.
Oh, probably Lil Duval.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, look. Ultimately, I don't know, and I can't even say it's a race thing. So I'm not going to say that it's just black men. I think there's a sense in the world that, women need to be faithful, but men don't need to be faithful. But since we live in America in a very biblical state, you're supposed to be faithful to.
Even though church and separate is supposed to be safe, but we're not even going to get into that.
So, I just think that there's a lack of honesty in relationships, and that is the main problem. I think if I think if men want to be in a relationship but also want to be able to sleep around, they should voice that, because there's plenty of girls that probably will go for that if you voice it. I think that on the flip side, maybe some women don't want to be tied down. They want to go do what they have to do. Voice it. I hate the sense that I should give you a round of applause because you're being faithful to me. That's
just the sound of that alone just sounds like foolish.
I just think that there's a sense of this was the year of, like last time we talked about, this was the year of the what was it, the side chick, right?
Yes,
the year of the side chick. And it was cool to have a side, even though your favorite celebrities that had side chicks kept getting caught up, you kept seeing what happened, but it was still the year of the side chick. So I don't know if just ultimately some guys like the drama of it. Maybe that's what it is. Or they want their cake and to eat it too. Or they're not satisfied. But I just wish that people would understand that being faithful is such a beautiful thing. There's more to it than just not having sex with somebody else. It's this emotional connection that I know that my feelings are safe. Because the thing when you cheat is that you literally take choice away from the person that you're cheating on. You take that choice away from them and you take their power with it. And that's one of the reasons why it hurts so much when people cheat, because they've taken that choice. Now, if you come to me and you say, look, I'm going to go cheat, you have a choice to stay with me or not. Thank you for telling me the truth. I can choose now if I want to stay here. I'm not being duped into thinking that you're just with me. I don't know, Mark. I don't know if it's anything that's ever going to be solved, because I think people have cheated for years. I think it just became very popular and something that it was okay to do. I'm hoping with maybe this new movement of certain celebrities getting married to their girlfriends and things like that it's going to change. But I don't know. I do want to say that I do think that more men are faithful than what society would lead you on to believe.
I believe it. I believe that it could be. I think it's a weird thing, because I honestly believe that I almost feel like people are tricking others into not cheating by saying things like, oh, congratulations for not cheating. So they're kind of like tricking them, like you, like when a kid cleans his room, or like someone, or they do something simple, you kind of just like, you give them a cookie because they did something like great. You know what I mean? Even though in the back of your mind, you're like, you were supposed to do that shit anyway. But I also feel that people heard about polyamory and then got the whole game screwed up.
Okay.
And I've actually spoken to a lot of people in I shouldn't say a lot. I've spoken to a few people, literally 3 people in polyamorous relationships, and they broke down exactly what it is. They broke down the gift and the curse that comes with it, but they also mentioned something that people get skewed. There are rules to their relationship. To your point, there was a conversation to be had, so the respect of the relationships, the respect in the relationship still stands. Mm-hmm. And I think that's another key that I'm glad you brought up is respect, communication. Me and my wife have had have had conversations about cheating a million times, because we don't really understand why you do it when you're in a loving relationship, or just like, I'm not going to sit here and say that I never cheated, because I did. When I was younger, I was kind of a piece of shit. I acknowledge it. I accept it. I'm not proud of it, mm-hmm. but it's a part of my past. And the phrase "hurt people, hurt people," and I was hurt, so I was hurting people in return. Now realizing that all that did was continue the cycle of negative energy and negative impulses. So, but like now that I'm in this relationship that I'm in, I don't even put myself in positions to cheat. Like if I see someone flirting with me and I'm like in a like intimate setting, like let's say I'm at a bar and a woman starts hitting on me, like mm-hmm. I start like I go like that was like, oh yeah, me and my wife love doing that. Like just let you know this ain't happening, woman. Get the fuck away from me. So You sound like you had something to say.
So here's the thing, though. Like, because I tell Jamal, so Jamal's, his whole thing is, I just don't put myself in these situations. He was like, I don't do certain things. I don't mix myself with certain people. I just don't put myself in a situation where I would have any temptation to do anything. And I take it like two ways. So I take it as, thank you for not, thank you for knowing your limits and knowing what not to do. But then part of me is like, you should still be able to go to XYZ and be strong enough not to worry about it. And he's like, well, the problem is that once you tell someone that you're married, some women are like, oh, well, I'm going to try harder now.
That's exactly what it is. Some people...
I want to know what it is that you got, that, you got someone to marry you for. So,
I'll put it to you like this. How often has a guy hit on you and you're like, I'm in a relationship, and they've gone, and? Exactly. You're counting how many times it happens because...
But see, my conversation never goes that far. It never goes that far.
Well...
Literally, like, it could be like, hey, hi. Okay, bye. Like, my conversation is very, very limited. I think my big thing was like, my first like relationship. See, this is difficult. Okay, let's do it like this. My first little relationship, I was cheated on, and so like I remember how that felt, and from that moment on, I was like, I don't live in that world. I'm just not going to do it. I can understand like being like 13, 14 years old, 15 years old, 16 years old. I can understand like wanting to, you don't know what you want. I get that. And honestly, for men, I even get that, I'll even give you a grace period of 19 and 20. Now it's interesting because the guy that did our poem for our wedding is the guy, Love Jones is based off his life. And he took me and Jamal separately, talked to us, and this is how he created our poem for our wedding. And he said that men chemically don't have this turn switch until they're about 26 and over. And he's like, any situation, he's like cheating, just talking to other people, just other things, you don't think about people outside of yourself. And he's like, it's not a purposeful thing. He was like, men can be very selfish.
That's on my end.
That's, what?
I wasn't sure if you could hear a motorcycle. I'm like, that's on my end, my bad.
Oh, no. But I did hear a horn.
Sorry to cut you off.
No. And I just gotta figure out, see, you can't be doing stuff like this when I'm pregnant. Now I got pregnancy brain.
You was talking about...
Yeah, so basically, like, his whole point was that people, we should get Jamal in on this. He's just walking home.
He just got home?
He just got home.
Bring him in.
I should. Hi!
Well, you keep talking until he comes in. So I'd love to hear his conversation about this.
So I think at some point, the maturity level, the level of knowing what you want, plays a big part in that. I think once you've decided that you're going to get married to someone and you marry them, that's it. And I think that you don't take your vows or that person's love for granted, period. It's kind of like if you bring someone else into your bedroom, right? You have that conversation, that is what it is. It's for that time or how many times you guys decide to do it. But then if someone starts stepping out separately with that person, now you've broken that contract. I guess I just take it as the same thing as marriage. I don't know if that's really good relating threesomes with marriage, but
it's still the same thing. Like it's funny because the first thing that popped in my head was again a conversation because me and my wife we talk about damn near everything under the sun and then stuff
like us
and stuff past the sun. You know what I mean? And one of the things that came up were I forget what we were watching, but someone was cheating. And then on top of them cheating, it was in the same bed that they have sex in.
Oh, hell no. Okay.
And yeah, so it's like, because you said something to that nature, and it was like, it's sacred, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's bad enough to cheat, but then to cheat in that same bed, it's like it's like someone coming into your, for the lack of a better term, your church. You're like sanct, or for the comic book fans out there, it's like it's your sanctum sanctorum. It's like that's something that's supposed to be your like place of like well-being and happiness. And
like I said, at the end of the day, when someone cheats, they take that away from you. They take that choice, they take that safety, they take that connection away from you, because after someone cheats, it's so hard to get back to where you were before.
I agree, and I think that's I think that's what the problem is. Is like I don't think people understand the seriousness in marriage. Like I remember when I think it's Offset's Cardi B's wife, and the woman was like, "I didn't know your marriage was that serious," and I'm like, "What? Like, what do you mean you didn't know that marriage was that serious? It's a marriage. Like, it's what it is. Like, it's, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? And granted, I also think that people, and I can't believe I'm about to quote this, people take love's name in vain. It's kind of true. And that's why, like, I understand. I don't get it, but I understand when people are like, "Oh, he doesn't cheat," and yeah, she doesn't cheat. Yay! I get it. But I don't understand, if that makes sense. And just as a guy, like I also understand that I'm human, so I don't go doing things that are going to put me in a position to even make it look like I was cheating. Like I go to the same one bar because the people there know my wife. The people there love my wife. I remember I was in there once, and my homegirl came, and we were actually waiting for Maria. And we're sitting there talking and laughing, and the bartender comes over and goes, "Oh, hey, Mark, how you doing? Where's your wife?" And I go, "It's okay, Maura. Like, she's on her way. This is a friend of ours." She goes, "Okay, I'm just checking." But, like, that's the type of, like, that's where I go. I go to places where they respect me, they respect the relationship that I'm in. I don't even hang around people who don't have that same respect. People who are going to go, "Oh, your wife will never find out." I'm like, that's not the point, man. I'm like,
that's not true. That's not true, because we were just talking about this. That's not true. Like, I don't care what you say. You may think that you're the stealthiest person in the world, but if you have a true connection with the partner that you're with, they're going to feel that. I personally don't think that you emotionally can go do something and be 100% at home. I just don't. I don't sense that. Hey, Mark.
Am I excused?
Yeah. Yes. Do you want to say hi to Mark?
Hello, Mark.
hello.
How are you?
Doing groovy. How are you today?
Today, I'm fine. Thank you.
We were talking about the book and, and faithfulness and
faithfulness.
Yeah, just how people, make decisions on cheating and
oh goodness, yeah.
How. I mean, when you were growing up, though, like, was that something that was, I don't know, awarded? Like someone saying to you, "Oh, these people are so faithful." Yes, that's great in life. Like, no, it was just expected, right?
Yeah, it was an expectation.
Yes, not so much now, I guess.
Not so much now.
No.
Life's different now.
Completely.
Yeah. Mark?
Yes.
Is Mark the one who's doing the book point?
No, he's talking. Yes, we're on his.
I like your pictures and.
Oh no, that's Shane, Mom. That's Mark. He does. Shane's the illustrator. Mark has a podcast that he does.
He's the podcast guy.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Oh, everyone's coming in. Hi.
The whole family's here to see you.
He's back.
Yes, Quentin is back.
A little terror.
Okay, thank you.
Every time I see him, I get hair envy.
He gets hair envy. He said you're not the only one. But I think it's just the expectation has gone, and I think women, and we keep saying men, but it happens the other way around. Bye, Mom. It happens the other. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. I actually, again, it's kind of cool. Like the family dynamic that you're promoting is like it's actual. It's the truth. Like it's not just an act, and I love it. I love the fact that like people are like I got to hear your mom. I got to see Jamal. I got to see Quentin again. I think that's cool. So, yeah.
Women cheat. Let's not like be sexist about this. Women cheat. You're taking my what? Okay, Mom, I don't even read Essence magazine. I don't know why.
I'm leaving all this in, by the way.
Okay, I'm sorry. My mother. Yeah, women cheat. That's not like it's not a sexist thing. Women cheat. I think that it's just the way society has set it up that it's men are more allowed to do it than we are, and it's okay. It's acceptable to certain people.
Yeah.
To the media.
Well, yeah, they're I actually got into a debate with someone recently about not a debate, I was having a conversation. I actually have this conversation at least 4 times a year about. I swear, like the media gets like a. They all sit down, and they play rock paper scissors or whatever the new topic's going to be for the next quarter. And like cheating has just been like the big thing like the last like year. Like that's been a thing. It's like, oh, look at them. They're in stable relationships. Where like a couple of years ago, it was like bigging up like people who didn't get caught cheating. You know what I mean? And then it was my favorite is listening to people who aren't in a person's household telling a man or woman what they should or shouldn't be doing in their relationship. Like when someone says, you better take that man back, you better take that woman back. No.
That's so funny you say that because me and Jamal talk about that all the time. Like when you have a group of friends that you confide in and you're the only girl in that group that has an actual man, and how sometimes that triggers a lot of issues within your relationship. Yes, those do exist.
Yeah, it cracks me up and it's just like, oh, well, it's like, well, let those people decide what they're gonna do, and however else they do it, like, because it's not my business. How
you only get one side of the story.
Oh, yeah.
The story has 2 sides to it. You're only getting one side. So, like, I can tell my girlfriend XYZ, but their actuality had an A and a B in there.
Oh yeah, I always say there's 3 sides to every story: side A, side B, and what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'll tell people, like, I am happy in my hypocrisy. I know the type of person I am. So, don't get it twisted. Like, I will say some really stupid things, and I will be the first person to admit, yeah, I said that dumb shit. That was me. My bad. You know what I mean? But I think that's part of, like, just any relationship, whether it be romantic or with your like friends, is just understanding like who the person is and who the people you are that are around. Like my friends make fun of me. They're like we had a joke. He's like, do you like sleeping with your wife? Not like actual sex, just sleeping next to your wife. Mm-hmm. At first, it was weird, like having someone in the same bed as you. It was like just like when we first moved in together. I mean, not like.
Okay.
Not like, like come over, like stay the night, stay the week, whatever. Like actually having someone there next to me every night was weird. But it wasn't. But then like it became comforting, and I didn't notice it until the first time my wife went on vacation, and like I'm laying in bed and I'm just like, this is odd. You know what I mean? So then it was like, oh, like what's the phrase? You don't know what you got till it's gone.
Yeah.
And my wife was texting me, and I had this grand plan. Like, first time she went on vacation, I was like, I'm ordering Chinese food. I'm ordering subs. I'm gonna sit up and I'm gonna play video games till 5 in the morning. I was in bed by 9. I was bored. The first night I was up late, but the next night I was bored out of my mind. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to bed. And she texts me, she goes, oh, you up eating? I'm like, no, I'm in bed. I'm in bed watching Carlito's Way.
I feel like that's. I have a feeling that that's how Jamal would be. I think. If I left Jamal, if I left for vacation, would you go to bed early? Would you party? And Quentin wasn't in this.
I don't think I can party. I don't think my body would allow me to party.
Yeah, I don't think your body would allow you to party. But you'd miss me.
I try to stay. I would try to stay up as long as
Okay, but like, you would attempt to?
Yeah.
Like cry because I wasn't here.
Where'd you go?
I went to like Hawaii. A girls trip, like a week. What do you mean? What are you crying for? Because I'm not here. What do you mean? You give a fist pump? Fist pump your face. Bye, come back.
Go fist bump.
I hate you. Bye. Why would you be listening? You don't even listen now. It fits the scenario? Okay. I hate men. Okay, hi.
Look, you gotta. Okay, I'll tell you what I did. So day one, I downloaded the game, and I was like, my whole goal was to start this game, which I think is like a 16, 17-hour campaign, start to finish. And this is with not doing all the side stuff. And my goal was start the game, finish the game. I cleared my whole weekend out. I told people to leave me alone, and out of the 17 hours, I got through maybe 5. And I was like, I'll finish it tomorrow, whatever. And the next day, because I'm like, and it's like, I don't know if you've ever seen like the memes where it's like the face your girl makes when you've walked in a room 3 times and you're still playing video games.
I don't think I've seen that, but I do. I get it.
So like, for me, and I'm a dick for this. For me, it's funny to me, and I'm like, okay, how long can I play this game until Maria goes, seriously, is this what you're doing?
Wait, why did I think she was a gamer?
Because before we met, she played World of Warcraft, and I always make fun of her for it. She does play video games if I ask her to. Like, okay. We'll play co-op games, stuff like that, but we haven't played like video games together in a while. Like, she's like super fucking busy and tired. You probably think she's a gamer because she accepts all of me for all my dorkdom.
Maybe that's what it is. No, honestly, maybe that's what it is. I just assumed she was a gamer.
Nah, she's
See, I go off bragging. I told you I'm like, oh yeah, and his wife plays games like me and like, yeah. So in our household, she plays video games. You can tell her.
But I certainly will. It's funny. I was actually hoping she'd be awake to join the show because she'll have a plethora of questions that I wouldn't think about. Like when she's on the show and it's just me and her, she's like it's the energy we have together it's perfect. And like when we're sitting down talking to people, like she'll say something and I'll go, fuck, I didn't even think about that. And like, or like when I'm telling her about like when we had planned to do this before I got out of bed, she goes, do you have your questions? I go, yes. Are they written down or on your phone? Yes. She goes, okay. Then she rolled the phone back to that because she wants to make, like, she supports all the stuff that I do.
And you found your compliment.
Yes. Yes.
Back to the whole thing about faithfulness and making it worth, finding someone worth being faithful, finding someone worth marrying is when you find someone that compliments you. And you don't necessarily date someone that you think is the baddest bee in the world, or you think like, you know, that they have XYZ and that's what you need. Like Jamal says it all the time. He's like, I wasn't mentally his typical type, but I compliment him. And your wife compliments you perfectly. Because that connection can only work that way.
I agree 1,000,000% because like I would never have assumed I would be with someone like Maria. I never would have, but and not even how we met, and that's just a whole other story in general. But like it's great because I love telling stories. I love writing, and like telling the story of how we met is hysterical. And people always go, "Are you kidding me?" And I go, "Yeah." And it doesn't even end with that night. In like we met on her birthday. We didn't speak to each other or talk to each other for a week. And then something funny happened for us to reconnect, and just like our whole relationship is just one big like weird romantic love story written by Quentin Tarantino. Like if Quentin Tarantino was going to write a love story, it would be the relationship between the two of us.
And that's perfectly awesome. But see, I think that a lot of people, like I said, I think a lot of people don't find that. And so when you don't find that and you don't find the worth in someone, you know, honestly, sometimes that just means that you don't care. It's not that you don't care about the person, but you don't care.
Yeah, and I think that's really what it comes down to is actually caring about the relationship, caring about the person you're with, and caring about maintaining that integrity. Because when you when people cheat, like it's not even. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, like, because I agree with you, like when you cheat, your body language is probably going to be off, and so like the other person's going to know. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, the other person didn't know. Someone else who is not your wife or your husband is going to know that you cheated. So there's going to be someone out there who in the back of their mind is going to have like an ace up their sleeve to go, well, I slept with your significant other. Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Why would you want to give that to somebody? Why would you want to give someone that power to destroy your relationship?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to put it is like, why would you give someone else power over your relationship? I think that's actually the best way to look at it. You should trademark that. You should put that on a t-shirt. Why give someone the power to hold your relationship? You should trademark that.
I'm going to do that. Once I drop this baby, Mark, we're just going to go into business together. We got a lot of shirts to make. We're going to trademark Quentin's noises. Like, we got this.
I'm with it. All right, I'm actually going to leave it there. I looked at some of the stuff we talked about before, and it was a little negative, but I want to come back and talk about the topics we talked about before. I do want to really get into those the next time around, but I actually gotta watch Jessica Jones. I gotta cover it for the website I write for. That was a shameless plug. So before you go, one more time, please give everyone the website and tell people where they can find the book.
Yep, so the website is adventuresofquentin.com, and you can purchase the book right on the website. And I'm mailing them out personally, so I am trying to mail them out as soon as possible.
All right, and so the name of the book is, so the website again, Adventures of Quentin, ADVENTURESOFQUENTIN.com. Go to the website. It's really simple to navigate. You can order your book. You can meet the family. There's a book trailer and a blog. And just when you open the website itself, like it's a bright yellow like font. It's very like kid friendly, and like you get a real look at the characters. And I think that people will really dig this. I hope and wish for all your success. I can't wait to see you your name and lights and Quentin on a big bright screen, because I think this is something that people need to read, and I think that all the ideas you have are really something special. So I wish all the best for you, and I also want to come back on. I want you to come back on again. I want Jamal to come back on again too, if he can hear me.
Jamal, you heard him. He wants you on the podcast next time. Okay.
He can come on solo if he wants. We can talk.
Okay. He said he'll try.
I said he can, if he wants. We can talk. He can talk. He can come on and talk hip hop if he wants.
Oh, see, Jamal, you can come on and talk some hip hop. You've both been working, no?
People mad at me.
he said people will be mad at him.
That's fine. That's perfect. That's perfectly fine. We can have a debate, man. I'm a Pharaoh March guy.
All right, so we got some dates coming up.
All right, so yeah, so also want you to come back on to talk about issues in the black community. I want to talk about Fuckboy 45. Yes, that's what I call him.
Jamal was like, "What?" Trump?
No, we don't say that name on there. He's Fuckboy 45. All right, but everyone, thanks for listening. Until then, peace. For the Geek Down, podcast, the Geek Down Show. So I have.
Oh, Sam, I'm sorry for not responding to your message, Pat. I will as soon as this recording's done.
Yeah. So and like I knew that I couldn't go today because like I had to stay up and hang out with my wife because I hadn't in a while. And we had a phenomenal night. I farted and shit myself and had to get.
I saw that. How much? Oh man, request.
Yes.
Before you share that to the page, man, just send it to me real quick.
Oh, did I put that on the page?
Yeah, you put that on the page, man.
Oh, my bad.
Jesus Christ. You know what?
The people want to know.
Yeah, you know what? People need to know.
Yo, I didn't even. You know what it was? I put it on. I forget that my Instagram is connected to it.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, I'm not even. We need a PR guy or woman.
Oh man, we really do. Yo, I'm willing to pay someone $20 a month to handle our fucking to handle our.
Oh, they're gonna want more than that. I was like, I'm just gonna.
Oh god.
I'm not even gonna delete that.
I just picture you like rolling over, and, like all right, like you know, like you. It's like you was like, oh, what's going on with the page?
Yeah, I check the editing sometimes. You know, like, what's going on?
Oh shit.
Language.
You know, the best part about it was I was doing it to fuck with my wife. I was in there. I was like, hey babe. She goes, what? And I was like, oh, that was a little wet.
Stupid idiot.
Yo, I swear. Wait, this was a serious pod, right?
It was.
I love the old man way.
Alright, man, that's been the Old Man Wade Show. Shout out to Super Bowl Cosby for coming in and doing this last minute.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, thank you for this great time once again.
Oh, God, man, that was fucking great.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, man, you know what I want to hear.
Kermit Shitty Pants Wade!
Oh, really? That's what we're doing right now? Damn, Shitty Pants Wade.
Damn it, Wade.